Hi, lovely to have you here. Welcome to the Electro Revolution channel. My name is Michael and I'm a car and tech enthusiast. In this series of episodes, we're taking a road trip from Sydney to Phillip Island in Victoria, over 950 kilometres or 590 miles, one way. And of course, we'll be doing the return trip back home. So in this particular episode, we're at the second charging stop. If you haven't watched episode 1, I invite you to watch that first, because this is a continuation of that. So in this second charging episode, what we're looking at is a 150 kilowatt charger. Now, 150 kilowatts is the fastest that the BYD Seal Premium can do. So this was the first test I've ever done on the vehicle at 150 kilowatts. We'll be looking at the charging speeds up and down. I'll be presenting graphs, I'll be presenting all this relevant information on this particular vehicle. And of course, generally speaking, this is relevant to other vehicles. So after that, we'll be organizing the trip again via the trip planner to the destination. Now, what I did find is during the original trip planning, I didn't really stick with the trip destinations and the charging stops because things change. You know, we want to take extra breaks, we want to take extra meals, those types of things. So the trip planner does adjust to that, which is great. So I really hope you enjoy this episode. So what we see here now is our second charging stop. We actually made it to Wodonga, and it was a 7-Eleven within Wodonga in Victoria. In this particular charging stop, what we see is Evie, the Evie charging network, and it's one of their charging stations. It's actually got 2 charging stations on the premise. This is within the 7-Eleven environment. And what we can see from the Google search or the Google Maps search is it's got 1 CHAdeMO and 2 CCS. It says it's 150 kilowatt. But what I found when I got there was only one 150 kilowatt, which is the one I used, and the other charging station was actually 2 75 kilowatt chargers. So we'll take a look at some photos here and I'll show you. Of course, these are the ones on Google. This is the charging station I used, the one behind the Tesla. And that's the one that had 1 CHAdeMO and 1 150 kilowatt charging system. And this other one here had 2 75 kilowatt charging systems. So it was quite a nice rest stop. Of course, there's a burger place there. You know, we ate basically at the one just here. There's a Oporto one here. I don't know how old this photo is, but we actually ate at the Oporto right there. So it had good bathroom break, good rest stop, good toilet, you know, the toilet facilities, all that sort of stuff, the food, drinks. So it was actually a good rest stop while we actually performed this charging. So I'll go through the details, of course, in these following videos.
Okay, so what we see here is this is my second charging stop. And although I don't necessarily need it, I can travel quite a bit longer. I might as well just do the charging and I'll look at it to go to 80%. Now, as you can see, I've traveled now 522 kilometers since I left home. And all we can see here is the actual location. This is an Evie charging stop in Wodonga. And what this essentially means is 150 kilowatt charging. Now, I could have gone to another NRMA one which is close by, but I actually haven't tried 150 kilowatt in this vehicle before. So what I want to try is to see if it's consistently charging at 150 kilowatt. I hope it is, because that's one of the things I wanted to try in the BYD, that, you know, I know it can do the 50 kilowatt, and what we saw before in the NRMA charger was consistently 43 kilowatt. But what we want to try here is 150 kilowatt and actually see how much it charges. Now, the price difference between the NRMA one was 66 cents and the difference between this one on the EV is 74 cents. So you're looking at 8 cents a kilowatt, but it's worth the test.
This particular charger, as you can see, it's got a CHAdeMO. This on the left hand side of the port, and on the right hand side it's got the CCS2. Now you can see the CHAdeMO isn't particularly fast, which is why, you know, a new standard was formed. Now we've got the CCS2 on the right hand side, and this particular station goes at 150 kilowatts, which is very quick. It's actually the fastest that the car can charge at on the BYD Seal Premium. Of course, you've got other vehicle manufacturers like Tesla and XPeng. They can charge faster, so they would be more suited to, I guess, 350 kilowatt chargers. But for this particular charger, this would be the first time I've charged at a 150 kilowatt charger on the BYD Seal Premium, so I was excited to actually try this the first time. So this is what this video was explaining at the time, that this is the setting for the right hand charger. So what we're looking at here is the actual charging station as I've plugged in the BYD Seal, and I'm now waiting for it to kick off, and there it is. So it shows there that it's on 32% and it's quickly going up to the capacity that, okay, it stopped at 125. It's starting to, of course, add charge into the battery, which is that 0.6, 0.7, that sort of meter on the top. That's how much charge is actually deposited into the battery at this stage. But what I'm really trying to focus on now is the 125, to see basically at this low percentage level, to see if it's actually going to stabilize at some point. Now, we have to remember that the BYD Seal will charge at a maximum peak of 150 kilowatts. Now what we're just going to look at here is what the car actually says. So yes, we can see that the charging power at 125.1 kilowatts accurately matches what the charger says it's running at. And of course we've got a remaining time of 55 minutes for 100%, but let's go back to the charger. So now it's increased to 132. Now I would actually expect this to go to 150, but it may require a few minutes to actually perform that, because this BYD Seal uses an LFP battery chemistry, so it should charge at its peak, at its expected peak. But so far in 2 minutes, it's actually gone up to 38%. So I'm actually quite impressed with that. Doesn't seem like, if it continues on this path, doesn't seem like it's actually going to take too long, with 5 kilowatts injected in just 2 minutes. But I would love to see that needle on the top right just go to 150. So hopefully it does reach that point at some stage. So coming back now, we're on to 43% at 4 minutes, and we can see it is consistently going up. 138, 139. And it's now injected 10 kilowatts of charge into the current battery. I wonder if it's going to go above 140. Come on. So the internal of the car shows the charging speed is at 139 kilowatt. And of course, if I want to charge to 100%, it'll do 46 minutes, which I'm not interested in doing. I'm only interested in 80%. But so far so good. It's gone up to even 144 now. Let's go take a look at the charger to see what that says, and I should match it, of course. So what we do see here is now 14 kilowatts injected into the BYD battery at 48% in 6 minutes. Now I have sped this up double time so we can run through it pretty quickly. But as you can see here, 49% in 7 minutes. %50 in 7 minutes with 16 kilowatt. And it does pretty much line up with the graphs I'm showing there, which is typically for the all-wheel drive version. That's performance in Australia, excellence in UK. So now we're on 69%. 70% with 33 kilowatt injected in 17 minutes, but you can see the massive drop to 80 kilowatt. And that is expected based on the graphs that I'm showing there. And last but not least, the current costs up to 71% so far. So I decided while waiting here just to have a meal break. So might as well let it go to 100%. But this is what we're looking at now. When it hits the 90s, we're looking at 45 kilowatt. So it shouldn't be much longer. And by the time it finishes, we likely would finish the meal. Okay, so what we see here is it's basically finished, or almost finished. I'll just wait another minute or two, and then I'll release it for the next gentleman. So as we can see here, 47-minute charge time at 100% for 60 kilowatt, or almost 61 kilowatt input. And that's also what we see here, 627 Ks. Fantastic. And the weather's gone to 21 degrees Celsius, which is fantastic. We started at 7 degrees Celsius this morning. Okay, that was a very good rest stop. Now what we'll do is go back to the map and our destination.
Guidance, turn left. Guide, turn left.
And there we go, 2 more charges to go. Looks good to me. 1 more charger, and then we reach the destination at 30%. Perfect. So that was the end of episode 2. We're more than halfway down to Phillip Island. So there is 1 more episode for the route there, and that's in episode 3. If you did enjoy this episode, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share this content with someone who'd enjoy it, or just leave a comment. It really all helps. So until episode 3, I hope to see you there. Bye for now.